Hello everyone. So my friend and I play a multiplayer game of EU4 about once every 2 months or so, and kind of when fall was wrapping up at the end of November or whatever, we had just finished the game where I was Korea and he was Scandinavia. I actually uploaded a video of the end game Korea that I showed because I had like 94 corruption and whatnot. And we realized we were a little bored of the kind of run-of-the-mill normal EU experience, whether it was dealing with HRE or just generally playing as some, Middle East person or East Asian person or whatever who kind of gets left behind. So we wanted to switch things up a little bit, and by some, I don't remember exactly how, but we figured out that it was possible to, first of all, to have fantasy elements in the new world, which I don't remember exactly what the description is, but it says something along the lines of there's like a slight chance that empires will start in the new world. There'll be some like fantasy native empire in the new world or something. And we also had never tried doing a random new world before, so we combined those two things. Usually, I mean they're not like the same thing. You could have fantasy new world settings where there will be empires, and then there's another new world setting where there's just the new world's kind of randomly generated. And we decided that it would be fun if we could both we would spawn a world in which there were two fantasy empires in the random new world. And after about probably somewhere between 3 and 5 hours of playing reloading and loading over and over again to get a world where there are actually two fantasy empires, because usually there's just one, and the game kept crashing because it was freaking out, and it's just a very buggy system generally. We finally landed on what you're seeing right here, which is, I'll zoom out a little bit. So this is the new world. This is everything you're seeing right here basically exists between these are the Azores. I think those are real, but everything west of those is random. And then I think this is all, yeah, this stuff is normal as well. So it's and then everything east of these islands here gets, you can almost see this line here, yeah, where everything gets cut off. Here it's a little more ragged, but anyway, this is the new world. I played as the Obsidian Empire. He played as the Crimson Empire. I wish I could show what we looked at, or well, actually, no, I will. At the end of this video, I'll play the timeline. But we started off decently small. The vast majority of all of this territory was just not wasteland, but uncolonized land. A lot of it was actually pretty high. I did not do much development of my provinces. So if you're looking, you see the development right here. This is all just natural. A lot of it was very good. And he was kind of farther away into the actual new world, so he just continued colonizing a lot. I clearly colonized a lot as well, but I was also closer to Europe, so I decided one day the English sent over the colonists, and they colonized 1 or 2 territories down here, and I declared war on them because I wanted those territories. And then I realized that I could get a territory that they owned, or a province, or 2 provinces maybe, that they owned in Ireland. I think it was Leinster and the Pale, or Leinster and Kildare or something. Maybe it was Leinster and Ulster. And so I took those 2 provinces, and at that point England owned half of Ireland, but the other half was still Irish miners. And so I slowly took over Ireland. I took over the whole thing, and then moved into London, or England itself, and divided them up. And it was slow because I was keeping up with them for a while in terms of institutions, but as you can see, it's the end of the game right now, and my tech is 28, 26, 29, so I kind of fell behind a little bit, so I had to do a lot of work to fight Britain, but I was successful. Eventually I took over the whole Britain, as you can see. I even got the Orkneys, which I failed to do the first time I ever played as someone or formed Britain, which was the second game I ever played. And right at the end of the game, I really wanted to take at least one province in Europe, so I took, let's see, I think I took this from Flanders, maybe? Yeah. I took Flanders and Calais. And I would have absolutely loved to push into Europe farther, but I was just way too far behind on tech, and I could not, no matter how much I improved the development of my provinces out here, moved my capitals out here and everything, I just couldn't, it was just too difficult. But I'm glad that I made it onto Europe. That was like my biggest goal, was just to have European territory at all. And another thing is, like, because so much of the territory in the New World was uncolonized. I mean, as it usually is. It took like huge amount of effort to get, like, it took you'll see, but it was very slow actually acquiring all this territory. And by the time I even made it like to this kind of bottom half of this smaller continent that I'm on, Castile and Portugal and all these guys had already firmly established themselves. And we did go to war with them a few times. But my priority was always to get more territory in Europe or Britain, and so I focused a little less on these guys down here. And so yeah, Crimson Empire mostly just did colonizing over here. We did lots of wars against Scotland. At one point, I guess England or Scotland owned a lot of territory over here. England was once very strong until we started going to war with them. They were very strong, and now I think actual England is here. Like, England's capital is Caden, I think. Yeah, right here. That's not a colonial nation. That's just England. And then there's this little continent that neither of us ever really explored. I think Crimson Empire has one territory down here. Yeah, Hapcot, Crimson Empire. There are lots of funny names of because it randomly generates the names of all the provinces and all the water provinces. There were lots of really funny ones, which I don't remember. There was some like Coast of Sword Coast or something. Lots of different things. Ulterior Banks. It's all just kind of like incredibly silly. Pugwash Sea. There were some other guys who were kind of, because not all of the fantasy natives are like empires. Some of them are just more normal size guys. So like Zheng Heian, for example, was also here. They were a kingdom. They were a princedom, but they had Western tech, I think. And they have like a half Chinese, half Japanese name. I don't really know. They didn't really do that much. Also, the Ottomans colonized. The Ottomans colonized here. I don't know how they got here. They also colonized. They colonized somewhere. Where was it? They might be gone, but the Ottomans had a colony in Malaysia at some point. I don't know. I don't know how they did that. Also, the Ottomans are a revolution now. I helped this Ottoman colony break away from their Ottoman overlords. Otherwise, yeah, this game ended. I mean, I wasn't like doing terribly well in the late game because I was trying so hard to fight the Europeans, but this went pretty well. I'm decently pleased. I don't think I would ever do this again. The novelty of this kind of wears off after one game, and this is just such a weird situation. But yeah, I would suggest it for anyone who's never played as a fantasy New World Empire. I would definitely do it. It's a lot of fun to like try to fight your way onto Europe, but also starting off as someone who's like pretty strong and doing a lot of colonizing. Because usually, as you probably know, I've talked about this before, I don't do that much colonizing. I don't like tend to enjoy it that much. I tend to enjoy starting off in places like East Asia or Europe and just focusing on that, or the Middle East. So yeah, this has been a relatively brief retrospective on the great Obsidian and Crimson Empires. Also, I like how this is called Crimson New World, as if this world is any more new than this. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty ridiculous. Pretty freaking ridiculous.